Hi everyone, Alex Wilson here, accredited mental health social worker and owner of Mindful Recovery Services in Avoca Beach, New South Wales. My vlog today is going to be about mindfulness. Now this is a really big topic and it's sort of, a buzzword that everyone's been using for the last couple of years. And I think there's some big misconceptions about what mindfulness is and what it isn't. And so I'm hoping today to maybe clarify some of that and I guess give you my definition of mindfulness and the way that we can best approach a mindful attitude and mindfulness practice if we want to do that. So the definition of mindfulness that I really like is one that John Kabat-Zinn writes about in his books, and he's got a few different books. Full Catastrophe Living is a really great one if you haven't read that, and great information about mindfulness and anxiety and other physical health conditions as well. But he defines mindfulness as paying attention in the present moment with awareness and non-judgment. Okay, so when you break that definition down, there's actually two parts to mindfulness that are really, really key to understand. So paying attention in the present moment with awareness, that's number one, and non-judgment, that's number two. And in Buddhist psychology, they talk about two wings of the dove, right? And that's what they're talking about, awareness and non-judgment. Now, what I find is that in Western psychology, in the Western world, people have really grasped onto the awareness part, right? So, okay, sit and pay attention to your breathing, or sit and pay attention to your thoughts and imagine that they're leaves floating down a river and they're just passing, or, whatever it might be. Or, notice, what's going on in your body and physical sensations. Notice the sounds you can hear. Right? These are all really great practices. What we're doing there is we're using our physical senses to anchor us to something that's going on in the present moment, right? And by using that anchor, we notice when we go off and we're no longer present. We notice, oh, I'm no longer focusing on my breath, or oh, I've lost, my focus on those noises. And we notice, and then we just bring it back. Firmly but gently, right? And so that awareness is usually the first thing that people start to build when they start mindfulness practice. Now, there's formal practice and informal practice. I'm going to talk about that in another vlog. But formal practice, I'm thinking about like a formal meditation exercise that somebody might do where they sit down and they follow a guided exercise or they do something themselves. And informal practice, I'm talking about bringing mindful awareness and attention to things we might be doing in the day-to-day. So if I'm brushing my teeth mindfully, I'm just noticing the physical sensations of brushing my teeth. Okay, so that awareness part, people get pretty quick and not super hard to develop if we're willing to do a little bit of work on it. But what about this other part, right? So this is the other wing that people forget about and ignore, and this is just as important as the first part, but it's much, much harder. But this second part is really where mindfulness starts to really bring something into our lives that's incredibly beneficial. So the non-judgment, right? So what non-judgment means is, can I be aware of my thoughts, my emotions, physical sensations, but then can I also bring non-judgment to it, right? Can I let those thoughts just be without attaching any meaning to them as like good or bad or right or wrong, or I like them or I don't like them, just like, oh, this is here, right? Same with emotions, same with physical sensations. It's this non-judgment where the real healing happens, because I could be very aware of my emotions and my thoughts and my physical sensations, but if I'm fighting with them and I'm putting all these horrible meanings to them, that's not going to bring me any ease, right? That's not going to change anything. But if I'm able to notice and bring non-judgment, then all of a sudden I'm changing my relationship with thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, right? And so this, of course, relates to a lot of the stuff that I talk about in my vlogs and in my therapy work, in regards to changing our relationship with feeling bad so it's not so big and scary, so we don't have to keep avoiding it. And when we don't have to avoid it, guess what? It heals and we get better when we move forward. It's the avoidance that makes it a problem. But we need these two wings, right? If I'm not aware of my thoughts and my emotions and my physical body and how they're all connected, I can't do anything with that, right? Oh, I have to have awareness, but I've got to have non-judgment. And this is the second part that I really encourage people I work with to focus on. Great, you've got the awareness, you've been practicing, awesome. What about this, right? How could we practice noticing all the judging that we naturally do? And not judging the judging either, but, moving towards trying to let go of that and just be like, all right, this is here. This thought is here, this emotion is here, this sensation is here, right? A term that I like to use in my own practice and I talk about with clients is, a phrase like, oh, interesting, right? So like I'm noticing what's coming up and I'm like, okay, that's interesting, without having a good or bad judgment to it. So I'll talk in other vlogs a little bit more about different ways to practice, but I hope that gives you a good sense if you're, already in a mindfulness practice or if you're looking to get into a mindfulness practice, a really good idea of what it's about. Mindfulness is not supposed to be relaxing, okay? So this is the biggest misconception. Sometimes it is relaxing, that's wonderful. But if I'm having a day where there's a lot going on for me, and I'm really aware of it and I'm trying not to judge it, that's not relaxing, right? Like I'm sitting with whatever's there. That's good. I'm feeling it. But it's not relaxing. So relaxation is a nice byproduct. It's not the goal. And it's not about making our minds blank. It's not about stopping thoughts. But if we no longer react to them in the same way with all the judgment, then they're just thoughts. They just come and go and they don't do anything. Same with emotions, same with physical sensations. Right? So, hope that's helpful. As always, let me know your comments or your questions. All right, bye.